Destructoid.
And we are live with Spot Dodge, a live Nintendo podcast where every single week we react to the latest Nintendo news and talk about the games we are playing. Today's going to be a very simple show because Nintendo just had a Direct, and we're going to go down the list of all the announcements, and we're also going to talk about the games that we're playing. But before that, let's talk about the people here tonight with me, which is Mary Stowe, social media manager and host here at Destructoid. What's up, Mary?
Hey, how's it going?
Pretty swell. And then we have John Frisha, indie developer and managing editor over at The Escapist. What's up, John?
Busy making fat stacks, you know.
Making fat stacks. And we also have the King Daddy Dilf, Brett Larson. How you doing, Brett?
I'm good. I might as well just address the elephant in the room. Yes, I have a mustache.
He has a
Yes, it
mustache.
is real, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
It is
It's
beautiful.
a work of art.
It's great.
It'll probably be
it's
gone
gonna
next
be
week.
something like that.
It's gonna be hard getting through this
Picasso.
podcast if you know what I mean.
Yes.
What do you
Then
mean by that,
also
Brett?
we have never mind. Greg Vargas, writer at PC Invasion and streamer over at Dynamite Giraffe. What's up, Greg?
Hey man, what's going on?
Not much. And then lastly, we have Eric on the ones and twos live streaming this show from his supercomputer. Thanks, Eric, for always helping us out with this show. And lastly, before we get to the actual show, please leave us a review over on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. It would really mean a lot. Please do that. We want to get in that algorithm. And also, if you want to be a part of the show, leave us a comment on the YouTube video, and we will read it on next week's episode. And that is pretty much it. So, guys, what do you want to do first? You want to talk about what we're playing, or do you want to go down the list of that Nintendo Direct? How you guys feeling tonight? Anyway, I guess I'll just go on to the... all right, let's talk about what we're playing, because I've played so much over the past week, so I'm kind of anxious to talk about that stuff. And I know what Mary's been playing, and we've been playing a similar exact game. I don't know why I said
Yes.
similar.
Same.
So first, I'll start with Brett Larson. Brett, what are you playing this week?
Dang, I don't think you've ever tossed it to me first. I was not ready for that. I was waiting for like a Greg Vargas handoff or a John or Mary. Yeah, I wasn't ready. I'm trying to think of the last time I talked to you guys, like what I was playing since then. I know like the big thing I played and finished was Ghostwire Tokyo. And me and you did our one-on-one podcast last week, and I kind of talked a little bit about it. I enjoyed that game quite a bit more than I thought I was going to. And it was one of those games that like, I mean, again, we talked about this last week, but of the two Bethesda games that were like that, I guess, timed exclusives that Sony got, Deathloop got all the hype and the love, and Ghostwire Tokyo is like the little redheaded stepchild, and no one talks about it, and the people that do talk about it are just like, yeah, it was fine, it was whatever. I actually enjoyed it. Like, it was good. Maybe it's because I went into it with zero expectations. I listened to a podcast that Colin Moriarty does, and him and the guys on that podcast talked about it a few times, and kind of got me going, okay, maybe it's not that bad. So I checked it out, actually really enjoyed it. Beat that a couple weeks ago. And then there's another little indie I played, but I don't say anything about that yet because I'll wait till the Direct stuff, because it's one of the games is like one of the games on the Direct. And then right now I'm playing Breath of the Wild again.
Nice.
Never heard of it. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I have
Never heard of it. What's it
Mid.
about?
It's mid.
It's a story about this kid that wakes up in his underwear and he starts hearing voices and just run around.
He's a
My
lunatic.
childhood.
No, it's crazy because you beat it again a couple months ago, right? Or like a month ago, a couple months ago.
Re-experienced Breath of the Wild for the first time, from beginning to end without taking a break, and it was much better to experience it that way.
And I have to admit something. I feel ashamed for this.
Oh, you're gonna say it?
I am. I'm going to admit this. I never beat Breath of the Wild originally.
Listen,
played it.
guys. Listen
I
here.
I played it
Listen
over
here.
60 hours. I
Get
played
out.
it for
No,
60 hours.
I will
And
say,
I always...
I caught him red-handed because we
he
game
flat
share
out
on
caught
Switch.
me.
We game share, and I have access to his cloud save. So I downloaded Breath of the Wild, and it was already on my Switch. And then I saw that his save downloaded on my Switch. So I was like, you know what? I'll jump into his game, see where he was at. This dude played the game so much. He had like all the hearts, all the shrines, but for some reason never went and got the Master Sword and never went and killed Ganon. I'm like, what are you doing? Just go beat the game. I think
Never
we had to
even-
finish like.
Never even got the
What?
Master Sword. Like,
No, I was like, come on. So yeah,
No, so
he- go ahead.
yeah, no, you're good. So I kind of always just told people beat it because
Lies.
I'm telling you, I put like over 60 hours into it, and what
He
happened?
probably
is,
played it more than me, like total, but I
Yeah,
actually beat the
dude,
game.
I played a ton of it, but anyways, I got to one of the Divine Beasts and I lost like 4 times or 5 times, and I was annoyed. I looked up a guide and it was like, you should go get the Master Sword, blah blah blah. And something came out right at that time, and I was like, okay, I'll put this bet down and I'll come back and finish it. And I just never did. And then I got so far away from it, like after so long, it was like, I don't even know where I'm at. I don't even know how to play the game anymore. And I just was like, I can't just jump back into this game. So anyways, long story short, I've talked about it long enough. I decided I'm just going to start it over and started the whole game over, and I've been completely addicted. I played from 9 the first night I started, I played from 9 p.m. to 3:30 in the morning, got up at 7, played during work all the next day, and then played that night too. Like I got totally hooked on it. So anyways, that's where I'm at right now. I'm sorry I'm a liar, guys, but that's the only game I've just flat out lied about beating. I promise.
That's what a liar would say.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yep.
He's like, you expect me to believe you now?
But
Pretty
yeah,
sure,
that's
pretty
really
sure the
fun.
mustache isn't even real. That's
Yeah,
a
it's
fake
fake. Just
mustache.
What if he really did just tear it off? That would just like cemented this whole
Honestly,
idea
that would
that Brett is a
surprise me.
pathological liar.
Like, okay, this time I really promise no more lies, guys.
Yeah. It's his wife, you son of a bitch.
It's like the TV show Barry, where he always kills someone. He's like, okay, starting now, I'm gonna be a good guy. It's like always right after he kills someone. But yeah, Greg Vargas, what are you playing?
Played a few things. Been advancing in Rocket League pretty solidly. So trying to get into C1. I was right at was it Diamond 4. Been streaming that a little bit, playing that. I beat Shredder's Revenge, which I really liked. Overall, I'd probably give it like a 8.5. Few small instances where I found that there were inconsistencies in like just in like some of the animations and fighting, and then like oddly enough, I figured this would have been like the most fleshed out part, but like sometimes the enemies will just stop at like a corner of the screen, or like they're supposed to move forward and attack and they're just standing there. I did like the just amount of stuff you could destroy and like collectibles throughout the level. I did the story mode instead of the arcade mode, which I did play the arcade mode in the online multiplayer. But like some of the other things that I was saying, there was a point where I got a couple enemies backed into a corner, so I keep hitting them. They're not destructing, and so I'm like, oh, well, I'll just keep hitting them. And I was like, oh, my combo's going up. I milked it to 1,000 hit combo, and I'm like, you should not be able to do this. And like it only took me like 5 minutes, and for Streets of Rage 4 and emu.
I think that's right.
Yeah, but playing that game and then playing this one, yeah, they're two different styles. They're both beat 'em ups, but I found out I figured it would have, I guess, a lot more polish to it. And I can't say that I absolutely love the pixelated art style, because
What?
I mean I like
stunning.
Greg
Dude.
is banned from the show.
it's
Yeah,
nice.
That
will
is
not be
one of
back.
the prettiest games I've ever seen with
It
my
is.
2 eyes.
Yeah.
But I think there's a few areas where it's almost like, I don't know how to describe, like maybe like too unclear, too gritty, too like Like I just wish it was like some of the pixels were a little bit more detailed and really gave the characters, you know, the same old school feel, but still feeling, you know, like the same art style. I don't know. I just it's okay to me. But there, I mean, there's a lot of areas where I'm like, oh yeah, look at the sign up there. Oh, you can walk on this platform. Oh, I wonder if it still does this thing. Oh, I used to be able to do this to these type of enemies. And then, you know, they did a lot of callbacks to like Turtles in Time, which I liked. I think the first level is like Big Apple 3 p.m.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you know, I played that game so much on Super Nintendo, and I have the 360 version still downloaded, the full version on my Xbox. And so I played that one not too long ago too. And I don't know, I just felt like they did a really good job of bringing in different characters, not only enemies but playable as well too.
Yeah.
That was the
really
last
short,
opinion
like
you'll
a
ever
two-
give on this podcast, so I hope you enjoyed it.
I put in like 30 minutes of this game. I'm gonna play through the whole thing. I just haven't gotten to yet because I've been so obsessed with a bunch of other games. But like, it's super pretty. The combat, like beat 'em ups, aren't really my thing. Like I have the memories of playing like Turtles on Super Nintendo, like as a kid. But ever since then, I've never really played much of the genre. But I did really like the Battletoads game that came out not that long ago. I just couldn't beat it alone, and I don't have anyone to play with, so I still haven't beaten that game.
Hey, let's beat it. I need to beat
Greg,
it too.
I've been wanting
like halfway
to
through.
play with you. Me too. Are you stuck on the level where you have to balance out the things that shoot down? You know what I'm talking about? No. Anyway,
I don't know. Right after the bikes.
Isn't it super short? Like
I'm pretty far in it.
2.5 hour game.
I think it's like 3 hours. I think like both of these games are like 3 hours. The Battletoads and Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Um,
Ninja
Sorry, I
Turtles
was talking
surprisingly
about
had
Ninja Turtles.
easy bosses. I probably gonna play it on hard.
But yeah, Battletoads, I was really, really enjoying. Like, I thought it was way underrated. I just literally can't beat the level that I'm stuck on, so I never got to beat it. But anyway, yeah, Turtles is good in my opinion. I don't have much an opinion about it. But Mary, have you played it?
I haven't.
Oh, okay. John, what about you?
I played through the story mode all in one sitting. Like I didn't plan to. It's just I was like, might as well keep playing. And all of a
Yeah.
sudden, like
Short
I was
game.
at the credits. Yeah, I'd give it probably like an 8. Like it's I thought the enemy types were pretty distinct, which impressed me because like Turtles in Time, like it's a fun game, but like after like 20 minutes, like you pretty much know the whole game, whether or
Yeah.
not you finish it or not. Like you know what Turtles in Time is. Here, I thought they did a pretty good job of like consistently adding like one more thing each level to keep you engaged, and I liked that. I haven't actually.
Are they adding stuff to the combat? Sorry. Like,
Well,
does the combat change, or is it pretty much the same?
You can
from
unlock
the beginning?
some.
Yeah, I think you can unlock some little things, but the combat mostly stays the same. It's just that like the enemies themselves, they keep getting like either like whole new enemy types or like they'll give foot soldiers like a new weapons with new behaviors.
Axe or
So-
sword.
Yeah,
Okay.
so like there's just
Bombs.
enough to keep things interesting in every level, yeah. So I only got to
Okay.
play it single player. I'd like to play it with another human at some point, but
Dude,
like-
why did the enemies
Yeah.
not have enemy health bars or names? Like, I figured that would have at least been like one piece that
I
was.
mean,
They-
like they're grunts. Like
Yeah,
I
but
didn't-
still,
I
Yeah.
didn't really feel it was something that necessary. That like honestly, that never even occurred to me in the whole time I was playing.
yeah.
Like, but like I will say that like end of the day, it's still like kind of a simple game. Like I can understand someone who like isn't completely enamored with it, but I think the visuals and the audio are so strong that that's what puts it over
Yeah.
the top. Like
Soundtrack was awesome.
yeah,
And that it's like short and sweet, and probably has really good pacing because of that.
right. And I mean, you can play with 6 players too. That's wild.
Yeah, that's
So
cool.
chaotic
I
though.
like that
So
six player.
chaotic. I
Uh-huh.
played
Okay.
online.
I heard,
I couldn't
Yeah.
even see. I was Splinter,
Yeah.
and like everybody, all the other characters were chosen. I couldn't even see him like where he was. I wish it was zoomed out
Really?
just a little bit more. Yeah.
Interesting. And also another thing.
I love how.
Oh, sorry, I'll make
Go
this
ahead,
quick.
John, sorry.
I found out after the fact that one of the guys who did art in the cinematic scenes, he did the art for a couple of the bosses in my game. So
No
Oh,
shit.
really?
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, that's
yeah,
cool.
I was delighted to hear that. So my game is a very distant cousin of Shredder's Revenge now.
Now you can put it on the box
Definitely.
from the art
sure.
of
Hey, yeah, there you
Ninja
go.
Turtles.
100% endorsed by the Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep, that's my plan.
All right. Well, Mary, it's time. Oh, wait, John. Let's do you first before me and Mary talk about Fire Emblem
Yeah, I was
for
say
a long time.
Okay.
John, what are you playing?
Yeah, so a couple weeks ago I finally finished Yakuza 6. So after like I think like 7 months or something like that, I've beaten the Yakuza series, but
Insane.
I'm still not done though cuz I have both Judgment games and I actually showed some restraint. Usually like within like a few days of finishing a Yakuza, I'm on to the next one, but I have not started Judgment yet. I've been
Mm,
playing some other things. I've been actually working on my own things. I've been like,
that's wild.
I
What
know,
happened
right?
to you?
I used to be cool, but
Exactly.
but Yakuza 6 overall I thought was like a pretty satisfying wrap up for things in the series. There's one little thing in the ending that kind of bugged me, and I won't get into it because I don't want to spoil the whole franchise for people. But overall, I thought it was a solid game, and I thought it had one of the better stories in the series. So, yeah,
Nice.
I feel like I've experienced something epic and meaningful here.
That's
and
crazy. You played through all of them.
what's crazy is how long it took. Like, I I I want to say that I started Like a Dragon, which was my first one on. I think I literally started on Thanksgiving last year. So
Jeez.
Thanksgiving of 2021 to like a week and a half ago or something like that. That's how long it took me. But
Wow.
yeah,
That's
Each game is
dedication
like
right there.
yeah.
each game is like what 20 to 40 hours depending on the game or longer.
Yeah. I
Mhm.
think I spent maybe the shortest time actually on 6, and I spent like around 23 hours with that. But then there were ones that I spent between like 40, 60 hours on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but aside from that, I'm playing a little bit of Legend of Mana, the remaster of the
I've been
PlayStation 1
wanting to
game.
play that. Yeah.
Mhm.
See,
I
I've
We have that game,
I
don't
like
we,
the
Brett?
demo. No, we have the
huh?
demo. I downloaded the demo on
Oh,
there,
it's
so
just the demo. Okay.
it's on our list. So yeah.
I played the original one, like I think I borrowed it from my brother's friend if I'm not mixing it up with another one I borrowed like years and years ago. And I remember thinking like this game's so beautiful, but it kind of sucks. And I basically still feel that way. it's it's like one of the most beautiful like well, I think they AI upscaled it so a lot of it's not pixel art now, but regardless, it's one of the most beautiful pixel art games ever made. And the music's better than I remember too. It's just that like the story is like episodic crap. Like I'm perfectly fine with episodic gameplay. It's just that these episodes are no good. So,
Mhm.
yeah, it just
I
kind of
actually
is what it is.
totally got this mixed up with Trails or yeah, is it Trails of
Trials,
Mana?
Trials of Mana.
Trials. Yeah, that's the
Trials.
That
demo that
game's
I
worth
played.
playing. That game's worth
Yeah.
playing. I enjoyed that, the
I
remake.
really liked that demo. I just never got the full game. But
Yeah,
one day.
yeah. Why not? If it's on a good sale.
Yeah.
And yeah, and I played Ninja Turtles, and I finished a replay of Circle of the Moon, the Castlevania game from Game Boy Advance. That game's so
Nice.
good.
Nice.
And I've not played yet, Langrisser 1 and 2. It's a remake of like these old Sega Genesis strategy RPGs that I never played.
Huh.
But
I've
I read
seen
good
those.
things about it in a book, and it happened to be on sale, so I bought it.
Nice.
And that's it.
Jesus, John's all over the place, man.
Yeah, right? It's on you. That's what
Yeah.
happens. The instant I stop
This
Yakuza,
is
it's like
yeah. This is what happens when there's a post John Yakuza world. He just goes crazy.
Yeah, he's playing everything.
Yeah.
It's like I'm playing right now.
Yeah.
All right, well, before we hop into Fire Emblem, I did beat a few games over the past week, one of which I never talked about in the last episode, but I finally beat. I've been playing this game off and on for like since it came to Switch. Since the day it came to Switch, I beat Tokyo Mirage Sessions Sharp FE. And it was not worth playing all the way through, I'll be honest. Like
Oh no.
the game
Oh man.
it's got great style, great combat. It's just too damn long and never ends. And the story is not like it started off really interesting. Like this girl getting like a disappearing while she's singing a song or something. I can't remember. It's been so long now, but she like disappeared and then you're like going to this other world. You're trying to find her and it's really cool in the start. And then it just slowly becomes like nothing. It's just nothing. Like nothing is really happening. That's really interesting, in my opinion. John, I think you disagree.
That game to
The-
death. I hardly
what's-
remember it anymore though.
But what's crazy is like after I beat the final boss, it goes back to the town for like a little bit before the credits actually roll, and the characters are all talking to each other, kind of like more flirty and like upbeat. And I'm like, why wasn't the whole game like this? Like, this is actually interesting. Like why can't the characters have better banter back and forth? They never really did in the full game. So that disappointed me. But that being said, even if you never beat it, putting in at least like 20 hours, I think is still a great ride. Like, it's great combat. It's just really like interesting and entertaining. But it took me so long to beat. Like, I would stop playing, put in 20 hours, and then stop playing for like 6 months, put in 20 hours, stop playing for 6 months, and I finally beat it like 70 hours later.
Wow.
So yeah, it took me forever to beat this game. Like, I was trying not to like bring the difficulty down at all and like just grind it out, but there were a few times I was like, you know what, I need to beat this damn game. I'm gonna put it all the way down on like the easiest difficulty and finish it off, and it still never ended. But anyway, aside from that, I also played all the way through from beginning to end Final Fantasy VII, the original, and this is. You can steal my gamer card. I think I said that in the last episode, but I've never played through the full game before until now. And like putting myself in the 1997 mindset and experiencing this game, it's like no wonder it was such a big deal. Like, it's an incredible game. Like, incredible world building, incredible characters, incredible writing. The combat's a lot of fun, and it actually is a super special game that like. I feel like a fake fan saying I would put it like on my favorite games of all time list, because it's just not that for me, but it is up there as like, I'm going to remember this experience for like years now. Like, it's a great game. But that's all already known. Obviously, the whole world knows all about Final Fantasy VII. But yeah, I did really like it. And it's so funny how the remake literally uses the first like 2.5 hours of the game. And then the rest of it is all new. Like, now that I've played the original, I'm really curious what the rest of the remake trilogy is going to be like. Because obviously it's like splintering off into this multiverse thing. But I'm wondering if they're going to use any of the same environments or any of the towns from the original game. Because now I can actually think about that stuff and be like, oh, this is from when this happened in the original game. But anyway, lastly, before we talk about Fire Emblem, Mary, I'm sorry I've been waiting this long.
I've been waiting so patiently.
I played through Scarlet Nexus. I beat that game. So I've been in like Weeb Central. I've just been playing all these Japanese games, lots of RPGs. And it was really good. Like, the combat is super satisfying. It starts off very basic, and then you realize, oh, this actually has a lot to it. And just full of style. Like, this game is just one of the most stylish games I've ever seen in my life. The first time I saw it, I remember comparing it to Astral Chain and being like, Astral Chain looks better than that. Yes, it's a Switch game, but like visually, Astral Chain is breathtaking. But then after playing this game, it's like, okay, they're more closer together in my opinion. Like, there's so much going on in terms of the combat and all the different like characters and abilities that pop up like during the combat, where it's like, man, this game is like, the combat's just amazing. But unfortunately, the story did not interest me at all, and I skipped so much of it, and I don't even know what the game's about, and I never do that in RPGs.
That's what I did in Kingdom Hearts 3.
Yeah, like, I rarely do that, and I started off like trying to pay attention. Like, okay, this is an interesting world, and it's a very beautiful world, so I want to know more about it. But it just kept getting more convoluted, and I didn't know what was going on with the characters or anything. And it's sort of like a visual novel as well. Like, there's huge breaks between the combat, and the combat's so fun that I don't want huge breaks. So I just want to keep on playing it. So I just kept skipping all that, and I would say, aside from one section where you're finding keys in this museum, that like the game is like just great all around. I just didn't like that one spot where I was just getting lost and like I just didn't know where the hell to go. And okay, Mary, let's do it. Let's talk about Fire Emblem Three Hopes.
Real quick. Someone in the chat asked, Philip asked, what was the best Yakuza game, John? I told him I thought you said Like a Dragon, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, well, Like a Dragon's still my favorite. I would say, after having played the entire franchise, that I would still just recommend Like a Dragon and Zero. And honestly, if you play any of the others, it's like, whatever. If you feel like it. That's my big opinion from having played and enjoyed the entire franchise, is you can skip most of them.
Yeah.
All right. I wanted to get him an answer on that. So Fire Emblem Three Hopes.
Yeah.
Exactly what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna finish off Yakuza 0 finally, and then I'm gonna play Like a Dragon, and then I might not play any of the other ones. But okay, Mary, you go ahead and take it away on your thoughts on Three Hopes, and then I'll hop in afterwards since I've been talking so much.
I am in love with it. I mean, I've been playing I've been on a huge Fire Emblem binge lately, but Three Hopes, I wasn't a huge fan of warrior games to begin with until obviously a Zelda fan, I had to play Hyrule Warriors. But even that first Hyrule Warriors game, it just didn't click with me. I would get really stressed with the maps. This thing is falling. There's a Skulltula you have to go find. Age of Calamity kind of changed the formula though. And I
Definitely.
absolutely loved Age of Calamity. I actually 100%ed it. I got 100% on the game, cleared my map. And so I was really optimistic going into Three Hopes that A, it's Fire Emblem, B, maybe they're going to continue kind of that change, that shift that Age of Calamity started. And it feels like they did. It feels like a Warriors game, but it feels so much like Three Houses that it just, I love it so much. I'm trying to think of where to start with it.
There's so much.
There is.
I'm really, really liking this game, more than I expected. Shout out to them for giving us a 4-hour demo, because I otherwise would have not bought this game. I was just thinking, just probably not going to buy it. But then after I played the 4-hour demo, I was like, man, I just want to know what happens. I want to keep doing this gameplay loop that they have that is so addicting. Going from your town, not your town, your camp area, and then doing combat stuff is great. A great back and forth. I would say even better than Fire Emblem Three Houses back and forth with doing strategy elements and then going back to the monastery. It's just great, just ping pong back and forth. It's okay, this feels like I want to be doing this right now. And then when you're fighting, it feels like, okay, I want to be doing this right now.
I think that kind of fixes one of the big complaints that a lot of people who I've talked to run into with Three Houses is the monastery section of that game can start to feel really overwhelming and really drawn out because there's a lot of people to talk to, there's a lot of stuff to do during that time period, so it really creates this huge gap between the combat sections of the game. And like you said with this, you're okay, I want to go back to my camp. I want to check out my weapons. I want to train my units. And then it's okay, now I'm ready to go continue the story, go to a new map, do some combat. And you're able just to shift for whatever you want to do right then.
And it's in the same way that Three Houses was, it's really fun to equip everyone with everything and choose their classes and just do all that menu stuff. I usually don't find menu stuff all that much fun, but when you have this school, it's not a school in this one, but this camp of students, and you're in control of them on the battlefield, and you actually, it's important that you actually utilize them on the battlefield. You care about their stats, you care about their equipment and their classes and all that stuff. So it just feels like a perfectly put together game so far. I'm not nearly as far as you probably, but I'm super into it. And story wise, I have a bit of a rant to go on, but I'll save that for after we talk a little bit more about
time.
These gameplay systems and whatnot. Yeah. So how do you feel about the combat?
I really like it. I was gonna say the classes all feel really different. I'm having fun still switching my units up. I haven't done what I kind of tend to do with Warriors or Fire Emblem games. I find my group of units and that's all the people I focus on. Obviously I have my favorites because of the characters themselves. But I'm oh, you know what? I'm gonna bring this mage instead, or I'm gonna bring this archer. And so I'm having fun switching out, building their supports. And also,
yes, the supports are cool.
Yeah, I love the support conversations. They're always really fun. But then also, I don't think it's not spoilery. It's more of a combat mechanic. But there's times where there's units you can control, and then there's units that are still on the map, but you can't control them. You can just tell them where to go. And something I really appreciate is those units are so effective at what you're telling them to go do. They don't feel like these useless AI, how some games, it's oh, this character's here, it's an AI. I'm going to tell them to go capture this thing and they're going to try their hardest, but it's never going to happen. It's no, they actually will go capture a section. They'll go defeat this stronger unit on the map. they don't feel like they're just there to take up space. They're actually really helping you.
Yeah, for sure. I was thinking that exact thing. And one thing about the like overworld that there is in the game, there's these like optional side quests that you can do. And a lot of times when I'm playing like a big like meaty game like this, I'm like, do I really need to? Like, I can probably just play through the main story. But this game, you benefit from it because you're getting resources for your camp area, and then you can use those resources to make the training area better, to train more people or to train them better. And I love when a game actually incentivizes you to want to do side stuff. There are so many like these Ubisoft games, sorry Brett, where they throw in a bunch of side stuff and it's like,
out of this.
what's the point? What's the point of doing this? But this actually gives me a reason. I actually want to do it. So the side missions, they actually feel optional, but I'm treating them all as like main things to do because I want to get all of that stuff. Like I haven't skipped any of the side stuff so far.
Me either. And something I appreciate that Age of Calamity did that just like induced anxiety every time it happened was like, I cleared the main quest. Here's 40 new. I don't know if any of y'all played Age of Calamity like that far, but just the ding, 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 and it just never ended. And all of a sudden your map was just full of like side quests. Go do this, go do that. And I was like, there's so much to do on my map right now, and I just want to turn the game off. But like Three Hopes doesn't do that. It gives you like a nice area of like, okay, here's where you're gonna, progress through now. And like you said, like they're optional, but it's really worth to do all the optional stuff.
Yeah. And one thing, sort of random, but I really appreciated this about Age of Calamity as well. I had played some of the Dynasty Warriors games in the past, very little, and then there may be like a few others that were like Muso games, but not Dynasty Warriors. And the environments always bothered me because it was like they would just be random. Like I would always think this isn't how a castle is built. Like this isn't how things are laid out. But one thing that was in Age of Calamity, and this game does really good with it as well. Maybe not as good. That the environment actually doesn't feel like it's a Muso stage. It feels like you're actually in a town or like in the forest, like doing this big battle between like two different factions, which I really love. Like it doesn't feel like, okay, you're in a game. No, it feels like you're actually in the environment, like the world. But yeah, with the side stuff, I tend to just complete side missions on accident. Like it's hard to follow like what it actually wants me to do. I'm just killing things and going to the things on the map. So yeah, that's a little confusing for me, but I really love that it's more combat focused and just go here, do this, than it is like these super in-depth things it's asking you to do. That's a lot more difficult and hard to understand. I thought Age of Calamity made it a lot more simple when it came to basically it's just kill things. It's not go specifically do this thing in this area so you can do this. If that makes any sense to you, I'm not sure.
A little bit,
but yeah. So I'm really liking it so far. I'm gonna get into the story a little bit. I won't get into spoilers because I really want people to play Three Houses if you haven't, because it's such a good story, and this is different. Like you don't have to play like either one of these two to play one of them because they're like different timelines. It's like the multiverse. Like they're two things that happen concurrently in two different universes, which was a huge complaint of mine at first. I was like, you make this amazing story with Three Houses, and you're telling me you couldn't just make a prequel story with these characters? Yes, we know what all their fates go on to be, like with the different like stuff that happens in Three Houses, but they could have made like a prequel story where like people don't have to die necessarily, but it still enriches the characters better and just the world overall. But no, they decided, you know what? Let's just pretend like Byleth didn't come to the monastery. Let's have Shez come in. He's gonna have a camp with all these people that you already know. And I'm like, why? Why not just build it within the canon that already exists of Three Houses? But
I was going to ask you about that because last week when we did our one-on-one podcast, that was like one of the things I don't know if you had even started the demo yet, or you just barely had. But that was one of the things you complained about was like the story stuff. As now that you played quite a bit of it, do you still
I'm
feel
not
that
as
way,
hot.
or are
Like,
you kind of like over it?
I'm not as heated as I was before. I'm kind of over it. I think it works fine. It's just a different story that happens with all the same characters. You just sort of have to treat it as a multiverse, different split timeline situation. It really, really bothered me with Age of Calamity because it was so like that whole story from Breath of the Wild was so interesting. So when they changed it and had the good guys live, I'm like, are you serious? Like that is so stupid. But with this, Fire Emblem is already full of different. Well, my dogs just went crazy. I don't know if you can hear them, but they're barking really loud. Fire Emblem Three Houses is already crazy with its different endings and stuff. So, I mean, this is just another possibility. I'm just looking at it that way. And I'm gonna mute myself, Mary. You talk a little bit about it.
Well, and I was gonna say, like, because like when Brett and I were talking like our DMs over the weekend about like his playthrough, my playthrough, we both chose different paths, but I've played all the routes of Three Houses, so I know like all the endings for that game. And so we were talking, I was like, but the characters still feel like they're making decisions that they would have made like in the Three House universe, which is why like I don't really have as big of a problem with like the what if scenario. Plus it feels very Fire Emblem to me that it's like it's all about fate. It's all about like a twist of fate. Like just what if Byleth never, became the professor? It's just it fits Fire Emblem to me in a way.
And one thing that I thought was crazy, and I'm fairly confident this is how it's been working, but I'm not 100% sure because I haven't played the route that Mary is taking. But I won't say what house I'm in, but let's just say not everyone is a good guy in Three Houses. And I was wondering how they would deal with this in Three Hopes. And it honestly feels like, okay, my guy, he's not on the good side. Like, I'm a bad guy in my game. Like, we're doing bad guy things. And then I was thinking, they probably somehow made it, like, story-wise that, like, all the houses were doing the same thing. So when I asked Mary how her story was playing out, she said, no, we're on the defense. And I was like, what? We're on the offense. We're going out and, like, just straight up killing people. You mean it's actually playing out the same? Like, completely the same, but you're on defense. And she's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, my God, that is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
So,
That's kinda cool.
Well, and some of my friends have chosen the other route that neither of us have chosen, and it's completely different. Like, I mean, even some of like the optional characters are completely different. Like you can obviously like recruit some characters like you could in Three Houses, but like I got a certain once like 4 chapters sooner than someone else I know did. And I was like, oh, okay. So even like those subtle little things.
I love stuff like that. That's the kind of stuff that I really loved. Can you hear me? Oh, Greg.
What?
You still alive?
Yeah.
Just like looking at us.
Waiting for you guys to talk about.
Sorry, Greg. I know you're tired. You don't want to hear this. We'll only do one
Greg's
more
not
minute
a
of Three
weeb.
Hopes.
Yeah.
And then we'll talk about that Nintendo Direct.
Yeah.
I'm really loving the gameplay loop. The multiverse, like split timeline thing doesn't really bother me that much anymore. It seems like Byleth is going to be more of a voiced character. I'm probably not as far as Mary, so she probably knows that. But it's going to be cool, like talking to Byleth because he was a silent protagonist for the most part in Three Houses, and I love Shez so much more than Byleth because he actually has a personality. I assume the girl version does as well.
Yeah. And I was gonna say that like I'm not for or against silent protagonists. I mean, obviously Link, like I'm a huge Zelda fan, like I'm used to the silent protagonist. Samus in Metroid doesn't really speak either. So sometimes it fits, but like within the Fire Emblem universe, especially when you're in a game, everyone else is voice acted. All these characters have very big personalities. Like Byleth in Three Houses, I was like, I just wanted to hear her talk a little bit more. So it's really nice to hear the full, like the voice acting for Byleth, from the parts I've seen so far. And then having Shez, like have this voice, and getting to choose like the dialogue options and see more of like her personality.
Yeah. And it's also cool that Shez can be a boy or a girl, and you can make it so Byleth is a boy or a girl in the game. So it can match that continuity. Like, I'm glad they didn't choose, like, the guy version is the only Byleth. Like, I'm glad they let people have both. But yeah, Shez is written really good as well. Like, he's actually funny. Like, he has, like, little comebacks, and I'm like, that's awesome. Like he actually feels like a character. I don't like with every game. I don't need to feel like it's me in the world. Like I like playing as someone else and experiencing their story. I don't really need it to feel like it's my story, like I'm playing a Bethesda game or something, you know. So yeah, we can talk about something else now. Sorry, me and Mary might do like a spoiler cast bonus episode of
We
this.
should.
Once we finish the game. I'm gonna have so much to say about this game. Because the story is just, it's very interesting. Like, it's
so
kind of hard to follow,
good.
but as long as you know the basics of what's happening and the motives of each side, then it's like, okay, then that's all I really need to know. And then the characters are just, they're like well written and stuff. Brett, why are you laughing?
Just Greg's face. You're through this
He
whole
started
thing.
falling asleep.
What do you want me to do?
All right, Greg.
Even just right now, you're like, the story is so interesting, and his face is like this.
Looking at my
Like,
phone, man.
He couldn't be further away from the...
Okay. Now that we're done talking about a base building JRPG, let's talk about a base building JRPG with Harvestella that was just announced for Nintendo Switch. And it looks great, in my opinion. Oh, it looks good. I won't say great yet, but I really like this idea that it's sort of like an Animal Crossing at home, like a Story of Seasons or whatever, and then you actually go out and you do some traditional JRPG stuff, slash some guys up, and then it seems like they're building a story around this game as well. So, John, what are your initial thoughts about Harvestella?
Like, I don't care about games like Harvest Moon or Rune Factory, so I'm just sort of like, whatever on this.
Yeah, but this looks like more than that. This is more.
There's nothing I want to do less in a video game than farm.
That's where I'm at too.
Dude, I
It
think
doesn't
looks
look
pretty
like
fun.
more than that to me. It looks like a Rune Factory to me. I'm like,
Yeah,
okay.
and I don't want to play a
The way
Rune
the
Factory.
story,
So.
the way the trailer made it seem was that there's actually story around it looked like someone like made their town better by like planting and making all this greenery and whatnot. But then like it seemed like it was actually building up to a story where like this darkness takes over after that. At least that's what I got from it.
I got that from it too, Brett. Actually, but for me,
so if it's more story
enough
focused,
to get me excited about it.
If it's more story focused and you're going out on these like missions and just like getting supplies, and if there's actual character stuff going on, then I'm interested. But if it's literally just building up hometown and then going out and getting supplies, I'm not going to be into it. But I think it looks like it's going to be a little bit more than that. Greg, do you have any thoughts on this game?
Oh, I thought it looked pretty. I thought it was like some of the elements that they were talking about, like the trees dying and like, you know, having to manage your farm and stuff, and like some of the combat. But outside of that, not really my type of game.
Yeah,
Nice.
Unfortunately.
Now, staying on this JRPG train, we finally got confirmation that Persona 3 Portable, Persona 4 Golden, and Persona 5 Royale are coming to Nintendo Switch. This was a big worry for a lot of people, but turns out Atlas just sporadically announced all the platforms for this trilogy. At first, they announced Xbox. It had like a 2-day window where they could only say it was coming to Xbox and PC, and then that was
like
up.
12 hours.
Was it 12?
Yeah.
I thought it was like
Because then
48 hours.
like a full day.
Eurogamer got that press release like
Oh, yeah, the press
within
release
24
spoiled
hours,
it.
and that's what and that's what had PlayStation in it.
Yeah,
And Steam.
but that didn't have Switch in it, surprisingly.
Right.
And then today we finally got the Switch announcement. Which, if you
So weird
haven't
how
played
they
these
put them
games,
out.
definitely play Persona 4 Golden. If you want to pass on the other two, it's okay. But Persona 4 Golden is one of of the best games ever made.
Persona 5 pass? No.
Yeah, I mean you could pass. You could pass on it.
No.
Yeah,
Wow, I'm
that's
surprised
alright.
to hear that from you, Brett.
I mean, here's the
Surprised
thing.
to hear
These
that
are
from
like
you.
Persona 4 is like it's like my fourth favorite game ever. Like it's incredible. Like I love it. So comparing it to anything else is just kind of hard. Like I thought Persona 5 Royale had great characters, amazing aesthetic, amazing combat, better than Persona 4, but story-wise just wasn't there for me. Like I love Persona 4's main story. Like that's the main reason why I love it. Persona 5 I didn't think it was that intriguing like the whole time. But I'm gonna probably replay it with the Royale version or Royal, because I've never played Royal and I bought it like so long ago, and now I might just play it on Xbox since it's on Game Pass, because then I can hop around my house and have cloud saves. one thing
Brett's
PlayStation
weekly
doesn't do,
Game
right,
Pass
Brett?
plug. Brett's. We both took a shot at each other. You basically called me a pony.
Dude, the cloud saves, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, I think I'll actually try at least before because I've started both Persona 4 Golden and Persona 5, and probably played them both for a few hours each. With Persona 4 Golden, I started it and then got my Vita. I had it on Vita, and then I got my Vita stolen at work. So that was like my copy of that, and I'm like, it was a physical copy too. So I was like, at that point, I'm not gonna buy it again, So, but of the two, if I was gonna play one, I think I would try that one again because I've heard so many people say like best games of all time that Persona 4 Golden is in there. So, and
now,
I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it more than Persona 5.
I feel like going in with the mindset that this is one of the best games of all time is not going to help you, but
No, I know.
I do think that you will like it.
I still understand it's not my kind of game, but and
it was a PS2 game originally. You have to also keep that in mind.
Right, it's for sure. I just feel like of any of those three, that's probably the one that I could get into more. I enjoyed the time I had with that more than Persona 5. So.
Yeah, I love the murder mystery element of Persona 4. I freaking loved it. And the characters were better than 5. I still love 5's characters, but I like Persona 4's characters much more. And 3 is also really good. Like, I'm playing through Fez right now for the first time because I've only played through Portable, of course, and that's the one they're bringing. So I bought Fez on PS3 and I started that recently. I forgot to mention that. But Mary, any other thoughts on this Persona trilogy?
I'm looking forward to playing Persona 4 Golden, the best video game of all time, apparently. So
yes, top 4. Top 4.
That's the word. That's the
word. Goes Resident Evil 4, Ocarina of Time, The Last of Us, Persona 4. Top 4 games ever made.
All right. I'm gonna go into it with that very high standard that it's better than Persona 5.
No, don't do that.
For me, it's like my number 7 top game, I think. Persona 4
that's
Golden.
pretty high.
Yeah.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, I'm glad to see we're on
I feel like
a
me and
similar
Greg
page.
It's in that 4 to 7 range, yeah.
But yeah, it's just a great series. I'm so happy that like more people are gonna get to play it and more eyes are gonna get on it. Persona 6, I feel like is gonna be like insanely popular. Like, because Persona 5 really broke through to somewhat of the mainstream after Persona 4 did somewhat of the mainstream, and then Persona 3 really kicked things off with its niche like following. So I'm glad that the series is just on this trajectory of getting bigger and bigger.
And I'm looking forward to people being freaked out by 3, because, like, if you think 4 is kind of dark and, like, 5's a little dark, like, 3 is so much darker.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so much darker. Like, it's a really depressing game.
It pretty much everything
But
about it.
Fun depressing.
Yeah, like the color palette's depressing.
Yeah.
The dungeons are depressing. Everything about it is depressing.
Like, the main colors of the game are blue and black, really.
Yeah, it's like the whole time. Like
They're
that's the
black
main
and
color.
blue. Yeah.
But now Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope has a release date of October 20th. It's coming pretty soon. I still have never put much time into the first game. I bought it not that long ago. And I just haven't put much time into it. Like I think it's like super pretty and it's fun from what I played, but I don't know if I should. Like I feel like a poser if I just play the sequel and I don't like play all the way through the first game. So I'll probably pass up this one until I play through the first one. What do you guys think?
A poser for doing that.
I kind of feel about this the same way I feel about Fire Emblem, which is like I don't want the stress in my life of just playing some hard strategy RPG. I'd rather just not do that with my life. Like,
I mean, at least Fire Emblem has some difficulty options. You can turn it down.
Yeah. I've heard that Mario plus Rabbids is hard, like even on easy.
Yeah, I heard that as well.
Yeah.
Who would have thought
The
that
one
this
thing-
would be like a known
Right?
hard game?
Yeah. The agonizing Rabbids video game.
Mario and Rabbids.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same with all like tactics games like that, and that's generally why I don't play them. Like, it's kind of fun, like testing yourself and like trying to figure out how to get through each level. But like, you eventually get to a point where like a level is so hard, you're like, just isn't fun anymore.
That's the thing. Like, oh, sorry.
No, you're good. That's pretty much all I was gonna say. It gets to the point where it's more annoying than it fun anymore for me. I know there's people that love tactics games and strategy games and stuff like that, but for me, I just always hit that wall.
This is similar to how I feel about like roguelites, where it basically expects you to get better as you play more. But the thing is I don't get better and I don't get smarter. So I'm not gonna be able to beat. If I can't beat it the first time, there's a chance I might not be able to beat it like the 1000th time later because I don't get better. Like I'm not like I don't know what's wrong with me.
Yeah, that's why I'm never gonna play Returnal in my life.
Exactly. That's the first game
should burn in a fire. The game should burn in a fire. Don't ever touch that game.
Like nothing about that game sounds fun to me. I will never touch it.
You know what's frustrating? Me and Brett game share, as you guys know, so we got it day one. And I don't think we realized how roguelite it was, because there's some games that have like roguelite elements, but it is so like hardcore roguelite where like literally you play for 2 hours and die and you go back to the beginning and you have a handgun and that's it. And all your health upgrades are gone. All your abilities are gone.
Everything is gone except like a hook shot that you get. Like that's nothing. Like it's not going to help me. Like come on.
It is so frustrating. The part that frustrated me most about that game is almost everything about it I loved, except for the fact that it's a roguelite. And what I mean by that is like it's beautiful. The combat is
the story
tight.
was
like
interesting.
The story was interesting. The DualSense features were some of the best I've ever experienced with any game in the PS5's life cycle so far. Like, there was just so much that was cool about that game, but it was the frustration from it just took me out of it. I couldn't do it, and it sucked because I liked so much about it. But
yeah, I mean, it's not my style of game to just keep playing the same thing over and over to get better because I don't get enjoyment out of that. It's different when it's like Hotline Miami and it's like instant snap back and then you try it again over and over. I could do that 500 times, but I can't play it for an hour and a half and then lose all that progress. That just hurts my heart. Greg, you're leaving soon, you said? In the thing?
Yeah, maybe.
Okay.
But yeah, let's keep rolling until I have to go.
Okay. Next up we got LiveALive. We got a new trailer for, which we also got a demo today, but it's kind of dumb how it works. John, explain the demo.
Well, according to the phrasing anyway, it says they're giving you the beginning of 3 chapters in this game, and there's 8 episodes total, and there's 7 you have access to right away. And I guess 3 of them it's going to let you start. And then I think you can take your save data over to the final game as usual.
Yeah, you can.
But like I think it would have made more sense if they just like gave you one whole episode. I think that would have been more satisfying. But
yeah, I was asking because the original game you don't jump around, right? You do a full chapter and then you do the next one.
Like I could be wrong, but like I'm pretty sure that's how it was. Yeah, like you pick a chapter and then you stick with it till you're done. But I guess thinking about it more, like I understand why they'd want to give you more than one episode to play with, because the whole point of the game is that there's this huge diversity of gameplay, and it's smart that they want to show that. It's just that, like, I don't know, it'd be nice if they gave you all of like at least one.
Yeah. But yeah, that is probably the reason, because like each chapter like visually looks a lot different. They want to show people like all the diverse environments and stuff.
Yeah.
I did think that was kind of cool, where it's like one of them is like the distant future, one of them is in like the Wild West, and one of them or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's nice that like compared to the HD 2D games we've seen so far, like this one has like less of like that like murky filter and stuff. Like this game just allows itself to have color, because that's how the original Super Nintendo game looked. So it's nice to see more of that too.
Yeah, if this demo turns out to be like pretty dang good, then I'll probably end up picking this one up, because I've been on as you guys can tell, I've been on a JRPG kick lately.
Same. I already pre-ordered it, so
Nice.
This is the summer of the weeb for Brett. It's
literally
never gonna end.
Guys, what's funny is 2021, I think I started the year with like this big plan. I'm gonna beat one JRPG every single month. 5 months in, I was so out of it. I was like, I never want to play a JRPG ever again. because I was like playing these massive ones and I was beating them like all the way through. And then I didn't really play that many all the way until this year started. And then lo and behold, without even noticing, I've beaten like 7 JRPGs this year. And so I'm already on track to beat one a month. So yeah.
Now,
Yes,
I will say one of those on that list. I don't know if we can count Breath of the Wild. Can we count that as
I took
a
that one
JRPG?
out. I took that one out.
No, it's not a JRPG.
Okay.
Not to me,
It's,
at least.
it's not.
Okay.
It's just like
Because it
adjacent.
does have elements of it. I understand.
Yeah, I mean, it's got this aesthetic that looks JRPG like, and these characters. There's just no leveling systems, and there's no like upgrade tree or anything that's like super JRPG like. I was gonna count it if I needed to, but even without that game now, I'm still on track to beat one a month this year.
Even taking that out, you're more than on track. Do it. It'll be impressive if you pull it off.
Apparently, there is like secret leveling up systems that happen in Breath of the Wild as you get further into the game. Like it's like Link gets stronger without the game telling you. Like if you just start the game and a certain enemy hits you, you'll lose like more hearts. And then if you beat like 4 beasts and you go get hit by that same enemy, you might only lose like 3.5 hearts. It's just like stuff like that.
Oh, I never paid
That's
attention to
wild.
that.
Yeah.
Breath of the Wild.
Never realized
What a
that
game.
either- realized that either. I heard some people lie about beating that game and they didn't. What a fucking
Yeah, those people are freaking losers.
Clown.
Most of them have mustaches, I heard.
Hey,
Yeah,
we all
the
three of us
rumor.
have mustaches.
Yes.
John's
Alright,
the only one.
LiveALive looks cool. I'm excited for it. Monster Hunter Rise Sunbreak. Not gonna get this one. I
Next.
played all the way through the main beginning campaign of Monster Hunter Rise, and I enjoyed it. But that's really all I need of that game. What about you guys?
Is Sunbreak just DLC
Care.
to that, or is it like a sequel?
It's like a significant.
Yeah, it's a
DLC,
large
yeah.
expansion. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah, Monster Hunter
Yeah,
is just not
okay.
my kind of
Next.
game.
I
It
was
is
just
mine. I
thinking
need to
about
go
Monster
back and
Hunter
read it.
earlier, and I was thinking about how like people like always make fun of games for having like wonky feeling controls and whatnot. And then when I think about Monster Hunter, I'm like, that is the weirdest controlling game I think I've ever played. You get used
Yeah.
to it after a while, but I don't know if how anyone could say it's like a mechanically super strong game. But maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe they are super thoughtful with the gameplay mechanics, but to a casual like me with Monster Hunter, it feels so weird to play. But
will
I
say
enjoyed
it
Rise.
was very overwhelming the first time I played one. I think I played Try. But then, I played World, and then I played a little bit of Rise. And I mean, you start to get used to it, and you see where those mechanics are. Other games use like similar play styles, but I do feel that most of the time they're clunky a little bit, in your movement and stuff. But it's the kind of thing you like get used to over time. At least I do.
Yeah, definitely. Like it was super weird, like putting your weapon away and then using your hook shot thing
Yeah.
in Rise, and then getting your weapon back out, doing a few slashes, putting it back away. It was just like kind of like, why can't I just keep my weapon out and use the hook shot? Like this is so weird. But anyway, aside from that, Portal: The Companion Collection coming to Nintendo Switch. This is Portal 1 and 2. This is a huge
Nice.
gap in my gaming knowledge. I've never played Portal 1 or 2. Has anyone? Have you guys?
Yep, played both.
Yeah,
I haven't.
Greg, you played both?
Hmm.
they're
I'm
fantastic.
Yeah,
I've heard they're
Yeah.
great. Yeah.
comedy throughout.
True. Yeah, there's a lot of humor in those games.
Yeah.
How is
Should
the
I-
how?
Sorry.
Go for it.
No, I was just going to ask because I'm the same, and I've always wanted to play them. I was just going to ask, how does the difficulty get with some of the puzzles? Because I can see it getting pretty, like because all puzzle games are like that. Like you get to a point where you're like, okay, this is getting kind of hard. Does it ever get to where you're like, it's frustrating, or does it always feel pretty fair?
It was a pretty good learning curve, right?
Yeah, I think it varies by person.
Yeah.
It really does, like in your spatial awareness, like viewing a room, and if you have a good sense of direction, then you're probably more accustomed to figuring out the puzzles a lot quicker. Because, for me, like I'm a very visual learner, but I have a shitty sense of direction unless I'm looking at them like directly at a GPS or something. But for some reason, when I played Portal 1 and 2, like I found myself like diagnosing the room first, and then I'm like, okay, what's the end goal here? And then you start to figure out like some of like the formula of puzzles and how they're made and where you need to go, what you need to do. If there's shortcuts around, can you launch yourself farther? Can you launch a box to another area? I think you start to really like understand the game while you're playing it. But at the same time, you're listening to this dialogue and you're figuring out, like what place am I in here? And it is kind of different to play it, a first person puzzle game, especially that moves this quickly. But yeah, it's a good time.
And one thing I would add, just because it's rare I would say something like this, is I thought the second game adds a co-op campaign, and it's completely its own thing. It's totally separate from the single player.
Really?
And that was the most fun I had playing these games, was actually the co-op in Portal 2. I had a buddy, and we just sat there for like, I don't know, 6 hours or something. And like it was
Dude, that's awesome.
like it was just so good. Like I'll never forget how there was this one part where like we just kept staring at it and thinking and trying different things. We're like, what do we do here? And like when we finally figured it out, we like literally paused to look at each other and high five. Like it was like that. It was that satisfying. And like it's awesome when it's awesome when a game can like achieve that sensation. So like if you have someone to play the co-op mode with, I would heavily recommend that.
Yeah, I never really say like I'm a
Also-
puzzle. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say also the game got a 4K enhancement on Xbox Series X. Go ahead.
Nice. I was gonna say like
Another Xbox plug.
I wouldn't classify myself. I'm not gonna go out and say like, yeah, I love puzzle games, but I genuinely do. I played like Elo Milo on Xbox 360. There was another one, Death Squared, I think, on the Switch.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
It's like you like these two different color boxes. Felix the Reaper, that was another one that came out not too long ago. And then, Portal 1 and 2. And like I just keep finding myself playing these games and I don't necessarily love them, but they, scratch a certain itch that, if you do like, to solve riddles or any of those things or puzzle games that I think that John was right. There is a learning curve, but I don't think it's overwhelming. So
I need to get to
of puzzle
these
games, Greg. And I'm actually going to plug Xbox here as well. There's a game on Game Pass like a couple months ago that came out called The Pedestrian.
Oh yeah,
I
beat that one.
Game. Oh
Yeah.
nice.
See,
It's good.
I played probably 2.5-3 hours of it. I really liked it, but it gets hard.
Yeah,
It gets really hard.
oh,
it
wait
gets
till you get
really
to the
complex.
last level. Well, there's kind of a surprise at the end, but it's really tough. And I was like,
Yeah, it gets super
I was
hard.
mad
Yeah,
because like
I stopped because I was like, okay, the fun I was having is actually starting to deplete, and I'm gonna go back and finish it again, but I just had to step away from it.
such a
'cause I was
cool
getting
game, so
frustrated.
pretty.
But
It's
so cool.
unique. The puzzles are awesome. Like they span from like these like really close up shots of like the room you're in to then you're like managing 4 different rooms and you're trying to close off one to get to the like the puzzle that's on the screen right now, the switchboard one. That one was gnarly.
I done that one. That was
Yeah.
hard. Yep. Some of them are
Sorry,
super hard, dude.
sorry for interrupting, but it looks like Twitch is not working the stream. Can you check if both
Just
stream
cancel
are
Twitch.
live?
You can just shut off Twitch if you need to.
Yeah,
Eric is
but-
talking. I'm not sure if he's in the recording. If anyone is
Yeah,
curious who
probably
we're
not.
talking to.
As
Yeah,
usual,
I should-
we're
I should-
always
I should-
talking to
silent.
no one.
It's working on my end, but
Both Twitch and YouTube?
both, yeah.
Okay, perfect. No, just in case.
Speaking of Xbox Game Pass, the next game that was shown off during the direct was Minecraft Legends. I have no interest in this. Does anybody here?
Not really.
I don't have interest in it,
Minecraft.
but
I figured it was coming.
I don't have
Yeah,
interest
right?
in it, but it kind of looks cool. Like I like how they're sticking with that original Minecraft look and making it, because like they did the Minecraft dungeons, which looked like almost nothing like Minecraft. But this is like, you can tell it's like in the Minecraft world. So that part of it is like staying true to its roots. I thought that was kind of cool, but yeah, I can't imagine I'll ever play this game.
Now, the CG cutscene that they showed of this during the Xbox show, I was like, hell yeah, this looks awesome. And then when you actually saw the
Yeah.
game, I was like, no,
Yeah,
not
same.
not for me. But this next
Scene.
Sonic Frontiers also got shown as well, which
Whatever.
is anyone cooler on Sonic? Is everyone
Why
still
did they not
hating it?
show this portion
Freaking trailer,
first?
a real
Yeah,
trailer first.
Exactly.
What
I
a
agree.
dumb move, Sega. You were dumb.
And
Yeah.
apparently you go into these levels that look like Sonic. Why would they not show any of those during the marketing? Like have like a trailer. Like picture this. There's all these different levels that apparently look much different. You reveal the game showing off those levels first, and it's like, okay, it's another Sonic game. But then it's revealed, then it has this overworld that's like open world, and then it's like, oh damn, that would be awesome. And they could have really like enhanced that first reveal of the game by having all of its awesome music that it's done over the years. Like
what did
put
they
a
even
city,
show us?
put a city level and play City Escape. Put a colorful level, a colorful level, and play something from like Sonic Colors, and then go into the open world. That would be awesome. But
I still think while this looks like worlds better than what they showed before, I still think like when you see like the rails in the sky, just random like lines in the sky, it looks so weird. But I
know
don't
it
if
looks
that's
weird,
Where'd they
but
go?
Yeah, like they're not attached to anything. There's just like a freaking line in the sky. Like what the hell
But
is that?
guys, they've been in every Sonic game, and I've never heard criticism about this
Yeah,
until
that's what
now.
I was about to say. I was
Yeah.
like, that's
I
just a
don't-
Sonic thing. Like,
Yeah, he just
Yeah,
has floating
maybe.
rails in their
I don't know.
universe.
I still think there's a small disconnect, just how marrying like traditional like Sonic sounds and stuff. Like, give us some music, some guitar riffs, some like bro rock, and give us a little bit of Sonic's voice. I still feel like they need to show off more of like how it still is Sonic, but just in this new environment.
Brett
Yeah.
actually sent me there was like a fan edit that they took what that Sega what they showed off and like made it into their own like minute-long edit, and it was like 1,000, like with this really cool song playing, it was like 1,000 times better than how could Sega not pay someone to put something together that was better than what they showed off? Like
They let
I don't
IGN
Hire
do
that
it.
kid.
Why?
yeah.
Why is IGN revealing games? Like what? That was a terrible
Yeah,
idea.
especially in
that I
such a
hope they never
trash
do it
way
again.
too.
Just
Yeah.
the way they
Bad
did
capture.
it.
Bad capture too. The
Yeah.
capture was so fuzzy. It said 4K. My ass. That was not 4K.
Yeah.
That was about 900p.
Yeah.
Um,
I'm just wondering what the reception of this game would have been like if they had shown this first.
Yeah.
Like that was my
Agreed,
first thought
yeah.
watching this today. I was like, this is what they should have done first, and people would have been on board. Like people been
Yeah.
like, okay, this looks great. Instead, they showed us 20 minutes of raw gameplay. And people are like, oh,
what's this quiet, weird, bad running, fuzzy video? Like everyone's
Yeah.
like, what the hell?
Classic
Yeah.
Sonic.
Yeah. But I think the game, I think people are starting to warm up to it a little bit from the reception I've seen. Like a lot of people are like still are wondering like what the hell Sega was thinking revealing it the way it did, but I think some people are a little hotter on it now. But yeah, after that, Blanc. This was a Brett Larson game if I ever saw one in my life.
Yes.
It has a
Thank you.
beautiful art direction.
I thought you guys were going to skip this, and I was going to make you stop so I could talk about it before we.
No, it was on my list too. I was like, this looks really cute.
It
Dude,
does. It looks
so
really good.
This is 100 times like absolutely my kind of game. Like, I'm totally into like these indies that. Oh, sorry, Eric Blanc, Blanc. He wants to put footage. Oh, he's got it up there now.
Yeah.
But it's I'm totally into these like indies that have like no dialogue and you kind of like interpret your own meaning kind of thing. It all kind of stems from Inside. I was so blown away by Inside, and ever since then I've like been trying to find the magic from Inside again. Chasing that high, man. but along the way I found a few that were fantastic games too. Arise: A Simple Story was another one that was really good. You guys should check out. But this totally, and the fact that in the trailer they actually say there's no dialogue, I love that. And it's weird that like, why wouldn't you want dialogue? I enjoy like playing a game with it doesn't like force anything on you. You just kind of like interpret it for what it is, and it looks like an emotional little game. I'm excited for
Online and solo co-op too.
Yeah, the description is a fawn and a wolf cub must work together to find a way home across the snowy wilderness in a handcrafted world. That sounds pretty cool to me. Now this next one I have no history with at all. Return to Monkey Island. Anyone play this classic? No one.
Negative.
All right, moving on.
I did.
Disney-
I did.
You
What?
I
did?
did play it a long time ago, but I don't have like too many memories other than like it was okay. But if I remember right, it's point and click, right? And I just don't really jive with point and click.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it just
the
seems like
closest
such
thing I'll
a
get to point and
niche,
click.
a niche audience that's excited
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah. So whatever.
I need a
Looks
little
pretty.
more with my adventure games. I need something a little more telltale-y, and even now I'm not super into that style of game. But The Wolf Among Us 2, you bet your ass I'm playing that the day it
Oh,
drops.
yeah.
Anyway,
Glad
after
to.
Return to Monkey Island, we got another look at Disney Dreamlight Valley. This is coming into early access on Switch on September 6th. This is like another base building game, but with all the magical Disney characters you would ever imagine. It actually looks like very high quality, not my style of game at all, but it looks like they're putting a lot of effort into this, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
A lot of the designs are kind of crazy from what I saw, but it still looks pretty impressive for the style of game it is. I'm glad that Disney's working with some other studios now instead of doing everything like in-house like they used to. They're like they're getting people who know how to do a specific type of game and then just giving it that Disney makeover like how they're doing with the Star Wars games and Marvel games and stuff. But yeah, anyone at all interested in Dreamlight Valley?
Can't say that
Big
I know.
nope for me.
No.
It's a hard
Brett,
pass.
no,
on
that's
this
such
one.
a Brett Larson game. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm happy for
Absolutely
Disney
not.
fans, but I'm like, no, not for me.
Yeah.
I consider myself like a Disney fan, and then I remember that like I haven't seen any of like the recent movies like at
Like
all.
the last 10.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the last 10 live action and the last 10 animated, I have not seen. Dragon Quest Treasures coming. This it's pretty interesting. I can't tell what type of game it is exactly. It seems like it has like a narrative and you're going out and adventuring and stuff. John, I feel like you would know the most about this. What are your thoughts about this game?
Sorry, for which one?
Dragon Quest
Dragon
Treasures.
Quest.
You know, it's funny actually. I've paid like no attention to that game. I I haven't even watched the trailer for it yet. You're right.
wow.
It does seem like something that would appeal to me. I just haven't like spent 5 seconds looking at it yet. Like, I don't know. I guess I'm wondering why it exists really. Like, it feels to me like it's a continuation of like the sort of thing that they would have put out on like 3DS. And if that's what their thinking is, then I get it. Like,
Yeah.
just like a light, fun action RPG sort of deal made on a budget. Like, this feels like a
Yeah.
very 3DS sort of game to me. So like, I'm probably gonna skip it, but that's not to say I think it looks bad. I think it looks fine for what it is. It's just,
It looks like it's on a similar budget that, speaking of earlier, Trials of Mana had. Like it wasn't
Could
this
be.
like AAA thing. It was more of like a lower budget title, and this looks like it's in that area. I like that Square is experimenting, and hopefully this game's cheaper because it's obviously cheaper to make. But yeah, in general, I like that Square is putting out LiveALive at $50. I think there was another one that was $50 as well that they're doing. Can't remember what it was though. I talked about it earlier in the group chat. But yeah, this is probably not. I'm probably not going to pick it up. But if it reviews really well or something like that, maybe I will.
Yeah.
I assume nobody else is interested. No, I don't even remember this one off the top of my head. Little Noah. Oh wait, I actually passed one. Sorry. Nier Automata is finally coming to Switch. So yeah, everyone should go play that. It's really good. Beat it about 4 times, and then you'll actually get the full story. Okay? Don't just beat it once.
And according
John,
to according to the narrator, we've all been saying it wrong. Apparently, it's Nier Automata.
That's how I
said
always
that.
thought it was pronounced.
I've heard
I
it
say it
pronounced
different
so many
every single
ways.
time.
Yeah, that's what I
I
said.
hear-
Automata.
I heard like I've
What's
heard
the
like
matter?
automata, Nier, something else, can't remember. But anyway, I love this universe now after playing Nier Automata, which is probably how I'll keep saying it, and Nier Replicant, and now I played Drakengard 3 not that long ago. I love the style of these games. I love the universe. I love the characters. I recommend, but if you're not into some really weird shit, you probably should just pass this one up.
If you're not into robots that... I don't even know, man.
Sick.
I actually liked Replicant. I tried Automata and couldn't get into it. And then me and you played Replicant last year, even though I did not.
You got so close to the end and you
it.
never beat it.
Yeah, I probably got like 5 hours, I would guess, left. But I
Probably
actually
less.
enjoyed
You
it.
got pretty far.
So maybe I could go back and try this again, because apparently this is supposed to be like significantly better than even Replicant was. So I don't know.
Well,
we'll see.
It's a totally different game. Like they're just structured so different. But yeah, they do have a very similar style and storytelling. I personally like Replicant more. I would probably still say Replicant is my top, and then Drakengard 3, and then Nier Automata. But I do like them all a lot. Like, so it's hard to really decide. But yeah. Moving on. There's a lot of Japanese games we're talking about.
You can just kind of
almost
some of these.
everything.
Yeah.
Like
we're kind of running out of time, so I'm speeding up a little bit.
yeah, we can just kind of hit the ones that like really stand out.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about Little Noah.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what it is.
Yeah.
I don't even remember.
I don't even remember what LiveALive and the Laser Eyes was.
Oh
game?
yeah. It's a puzzle game.
Lorelei.
That one actually kind of stood out to me. The Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. Like
I literally
like,
have
all
not
black
had
and-
time to actually watch the direct yet. So some of these games, like I know the name
gonna
because
call
I
you
read
out
the
on that.
description, but yeah.
Damn
I was
you,
gonna call
John.
you out on that, but I was like, I don't want to put him on the. I don't want to say that and embarrass him or something. But
I'm gonna skip
yeah,
some of
Lorelei,
these.
it's-
Like
the Lorelei
what?
game actually kind of looks cool. It's like all like black and white, and then her eyes are like bright red, but it's like a puzzle adventure. I can see.
Oh,
it's
that
like a
actually looks pretty
detective
cool.
puzzle adventure. Yeah, I could see myself possibly getting into that game actually.
yeah, I could see myself getting into this once Brett buys it and it's on my account.
Sick.
Next up, we have. I'll skip Doraemon, Story of Seasons, Friends of the Great Kingdom. That's a long ass name.
Please do.
Another niche game.
Dude, there's so many base building style games during the showcase.
Like that train one? Like, what the hell was that?
That train
actually,
one,
that
oh
actually
my
looked pretty cool. The one with all the
Get the hell
tracks.
out of here.
That was pretty cool.
Really?
I was thinking my son would love that with all the tracks because he loves tracks. Mega
I'll give
Man
you that.
Battle Network Legacy Collection. This is all 10 GBA games. Is that right, John? 10.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, it's 6. It's just that they did the Pokemon treatment to several of them with splitting it to 2 versions.
Okay.
Yeah,
I never
that
got
was
around
just-
to
I
playing
heard
these. I've heard
marketing.
really good things. Yeah.
they're really fun. Yeah, like I'm still not really sure like how it existed because Mega Man was always these action side scrollers, and all of a sudden it became like this adventure RPG
Strategy
with
game.
grid-based combat. Yeah, like they're really fun. Like if it's one of those series where it's like the rest of Mega Man. If you've played one of them, you've played them all. So like play one and really enjoy it, and then just decide if you want to play any more after that. I love Mega Man, so of course I just played them all as usual. But yeah, like this I expect this to sell really well.
Yeah, I hope so because I want them to bring back more GBA games, like all publishers in general. I feel like there was a lot of good stuff during that time, and they have aged really good. All right, Greg's heading out. Love you.
I'm sorry, I
Goodbye.
have to leave.
Yeah.
I apologize.
Hey, Greg.
There you go.
Have a good rest of the show.
Hey, man.
See ya.
Have a good one.
Yep. But yeah,
Not
I want more GBA games because I feel like they look really good still. Like they basically look like like more souped up Super Nintendo games for the most part.
Yeah.
So they like graphically they all still look really great with their pixel art.
Right. And I just want to say I think it's funny that Battle Network's coming to everything except Xbox.
Yeah, that
Like,
is weird.
Oh.
Capcom's
up
just
with-
like, oh,
Got him.
I don't understand it. Like it's really strange because like it seems like they're bringing Street Fighter to Xbox when that just skipped, and they're bringing everything else to Xbox. So it's so random that they're just like, you know what, this random collection, nah. We put all the other ones on there, but let's just skip this one on
yeah.
Xbox. So strange to me.
Kids don't play
Yeah.
Xbox, so forget it.
Yeah.
You
And-
tell me this isn't going to be a day one Game
Game
Pass. Day one.
That's the way it goes. But yeah, this is the game I've been kind of subtly teasing since like April. This is like the one time where I actually had insider knowledge of something, and I was like tearing myself up that I couldn't talk about this game.
Yeah.
That's funny.
You're saying
Think of
that.
all the Twitter followers you could have had, though.
I know, right?
Man.
The only
There
thing
was-
I used my powers for was that I always go to the Mega Man subreddit, and like sometimes people will be like, should I buy these games on Wii U before they go away? And
You'd
I'll
be
be
like,
like really
"No, don't."
gently. I literally posted like, wait one more month, and somebody was like like what do you mean by that, or why? And I replied, please wait one more month.
They're like, what does that mean?
Yeah. So that's as far as I went, just trying to help people save money on the Mega Man subreddit.
That's really
Awesome.
funny.
John's a regular old Tom Henderson here.
Using his powers for good.
The one time, well, it's been a lot more than one time, but this one was like really far in advance. I knew about the Ori and the Will of the Wisps Switch version like way before it was announced, and I even tweeted about it to see if anyone would notice. Like I tweeted out, "I'm hearing Ori is going to come to Switch." No likes, no comments. I still kept it up. And then I retweeted it like 5 months later when it was finally revealed. And I said, "Am I an insider now?" And that had like a few likes.
Awesome.
But yeah, like this like grid-based combat in these games intrigues me because I really loved the second South Park game, which is kind of similar, and I also love the game Grand Kingdom. I don't know if you remember that, John, but I really loved the grid-based combat in that as well.
I think I know that one.
Dude, Grand Kingdom is so good. I would have beaten it if my save didn't get deleted by my son. There it is. The art direction is so good. It's just, oh my god, it's just amazing. I've been thinking about restarting it.
I don't think I've like ever seen this in my life. That's surprising.
Yeah, I've never even heard of that.
Dude,
Yeah.
like I was obsessed with this
Deep
game
cut
I
there.
put like 30, 40 hours into it, and then I lost my save, so I'm like, you know what? I'm not gonna restart and do all that.
I feel that.
But yeah, it's on PS4. Now,
Okay.
next up, we have Super Bomberman R2. I did not expect to see that at the
Yeah.
showcase. That is
Especially because
random.
they're like winding down support, if it didn't already end, of the online Bomberman R, which was the free-to-play one.
Yeah, like
So
why put out a new one?
Right. Like, I mean, I'm kind of here for it. Like, when I bought Switch, like Bomberman R was a launch game, and I bought it
Mhm.
with my Switch just for the just because like I used to love Bomberman
There
on
was
like Super
nothing else out
Nintendo.
either.
Well, yeah, that as well. It's just like again, I very rarely play multiplayer games of any kind, but like one of my go-tos when I actually do is Bomberman. So I was like, sure, let's do it, Konami. So that's one of the few I've got. So I'll give him a chance here with a sequel.
I'm not sure if Bomberman 64 is considered terrible nowadays, but that's my only experience with Bomberman really, and I used to love that game as a kid.
Yeah, that's the only one I've ever played too.
There was like
really?
these cool looking bosses that all had like different suits that were similar to Bomberman's. I don't remember much about it.
I rented that one. Yeah, I don't think I ever owned it, but like, man, just grab a Super Nintendo or like a Sega Genesis emulator and just like play a Bomberman on there. They're classic.
Hopefully we can get those Bomberman games on Switch Online. That would make sense.
Yeah, actually, that would rule.
Online too, that'd be cool.
Yeah, yeah.
And then pretty much lastly, there's a few more that I'm probably not going to talk about. We got Pac-Man World Repack, which is a remake of the old what console was that on?
Apparently
N64,
PS1.
GameCube,
PS1.
Oh, okay. Yeah, an old remake. It actually looks pretty decent for
Yeah, it
being a
kinda looks
remake.
cool. I was
That's
no
what I saw,
surprise
yeah.
from what I saw. Yeah.
Yeah, like I don't know, it looks. I don't think this is really the right word, but it looks wholesome. If you know what
Yeah.
I'm trying to get at, like that's like it's. I guess I should just say it's charming. It looks charming.
Yeah.
You know,
No, I think
like-
wholesome is the right word. It's
It's
kind of like
both.
that
It's-
Kirby feel.
Yeah,
Where
you
it's like
know?
fun. Yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah,
Like I'm not expecting
probably never play
Kirby
it, but-
level gameplay, but it looks
No.
nice.
for sure.
It made me
I'm
think
wondering.
it's random. It made me think of Wario World for the GameCube for some reason, and I don't know why.
Why not?
Yeah.
I do like it,
but yeah,
how it looks like you jump from like genre to genre. I always like when games do that, like kind of like the It Takes Two did it probably as good, if not better, than any game I've ever played, where it like jumps from genres. I always like that when games take a chance and do that, because like they could so very easily mess up and be terrible at one or two of the genres. So that's always kind of cool when you see that. But I don't know. It looked better than what I was expecting it. Like when I first saw the name, I was like, my eyes rolled, and then I was like, oh, you know what? That actually doesn't look terrible.
Right?
So
Yeah.
It looks pretty fun.
Yeah.
We might have to check this out. If it reviews like around 6, 5, 7, I'll probably get it. Like it's probably just good fun, you know. Like it's just probably okay, which that's all right. Sometimes it's good to play a game that's just all right, and then you just move on with your life. I don't know. But this has been Spot Dodge. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us for an hour and a half. Pretty nice show. Brett Larson, if people want to find you, where can they go?
They can find me on the street corner. No, I'm just joking. That's John's joke.
That's my turf.
turning tricks. I'll be turning tricks. On Twitter, it is B_Lars24.
Nice. John, what about you?
On my corner.
With Brett.
Yeah, you can find me at my name on Twitter, and I'm literally looking at our screen to read what my handles are that Eric has in here. Apparently, the Twitter for my video game is Boss Saga Game on Twitter, so go check that out.
I love how he forgets.
I just let Eric
every
do
week.
it for me from now on. You know, like I'm working on a video game. I think it's called Boss Saga. Maybe Google it. I don't know.
There's like two Johns. Like one's like during the day where he's working, and then at nighttime he like shakes and everything goes black, and then he's like working his second life making a video game.
He's like,
and his two versions don't know each other.
He's like Walter White. Like he's a chemistry teacher by day and a meth dealer by night.
Yeah. So many bodies in my closet.
Mary, what about you?
You can find me over at the Destructoid Show on TikTok and Snapchat still at the moment. Mainly on TikTok though. And you can find me on Twitch and Twitter. Mary Wants a Cookie.
Awesome. Yep, you can find me over on the Destructoid TikTok. Don't worry about Snapchat. Too many ads ruins all the jokes. Just go over to TikTok where there's no ads. But there are sponsorships going on, so yeah. Yeah, that's pretty much it. You can find me on Twitter at BrettNLL as well. And once again, and if you made it this far, please leave us a review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Would really mean a lot. Let's get in that algorithm, get all up in it and deep. All right, we'll talk to you guys later. Goodbye.
5 stars.
See you guys.